Welcome to episode 633 of Salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am talking about haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or accounts of paranormal experiences. Whether they're your own or from others that you trust, happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds or on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of the show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Troubled Minds Radio comes on. And as always, I want to thank Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, for having me on the network and putting all my shows up there. If you'd like to support my show, you can do that in a few different ways. You can share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platforms. You can find books that I've written over on Amazon, including my most recent book, Salsido Paranormal Experiences, and of course other paranormal fiction and nonfiction over there. You can sign up for Patreon and get 2 extra episodes per week, whenever possible, of true paranormal stories from the web. You can also just make one-time donations to PayPal, through PayPal, because that's the one app I use. And I say all that because there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases. And I think that takes care of all that. We are in the middle of the state of California, handful of locations there. And I have talked about this location before, but it's always neat to look at different articles on locations, even if I've already covered them. So we're going to be talking, at least for this episode, about the Queen Mary, the former ocean liner. And so we'll get to that article here. Of course, I always include all the article links in the episode description for these shows, so you can check out the full text and get all the pictures and all those things, and use all the links to go wherever you want to with all that. Also, just please check on the locations I talk about in these shows. Find out when it is okay to visit them, and get all the details on that, because the information may change from whenever these articles comes out to when you decide to go. So I never recommend trespassing for a lot of reasons, so yeah, just be aware and make sure not to just go by what the articles say, because they could be wrong. Anyway, getting to the first article here. This is from legendsofamerica.com. The article's called Ghosts of the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. Of course, this is that's where the RMS Queen Mary is permanently docked, and it was bigger and faster and more powerful than the Titanic when it was in operation. It's 1,000 feet long. Started off as let's see here. Started off being constructed in 1930, and was finished in let's see here. Didn't get finished because of the Great Depression until let me see here. Till 1936. There we go. So for 3 years, it says, the luxury ocean liner hosted the world's rich and famous people, taking them across the Atlantic, including people such as the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Greta Garbo, Clark Gable, David Niven, Mary Pickford, George and Ira Gershwin, and Sir Winston Churchill, to name a few, it says in the article here. It was considered by the upper class to be the only way to travel, basically. And it held the Queen Mary held the record for the fastest speed, or fastest ever North Atlantic crossing. So, but of course, when World War II started in 1939, luxury travel, of course, was canceled, and the ship was turned into a transport personnel or troop transport ship known as the Grey Ghost, and it was the capacity at that time was increased from 2,400 to 5,500. And by the end of World War II, the ship had carried more than 800,000 troops and traveled more than 600,000 miles, and played a significant part in almost every Allied forces campaign. Also survived a collision at sea and set the record for carrying the most people on a floating vessel, 16,683. Wow. And participated in the D-Day invasion. So the article says that during her service in the war, the Queen Mary was painted a drab gray for camouflage purposes, which is how she got the nickname of the Grey Ghost. So at the end of the war, the Queen Mary started to transport more than 22,000 family members to the U.S. and Canada of family members of people in the military, of soldiers, and it was even known. This period of time was even known apparently as the bride and baby voyages, because that was a lot of the people that were going, was the wives and the children of the soldiers, and made 13 apparently trips for this reason in 1946. So once that everything was over with the war and all that, it was returned to the original purpose of being a cruise ship in July 1947, and so it went traveled between Southampton, Cherbourg, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, and New York. But by the early 1960s, these kinds of cruises were falling out of favor due to air travel, the innovation of public air travel. So in 1963, the ship started traveling less and less, going to the Canary Islands and later to the Bahamas. But apparently that didn't work out without central air conditioning and outdoor pools, or other things that were now being built into cruise ships at that point in time. So in 1967, she was taken or withdrawn from service after more than 1,000 transatlantic crossings. And that year, it was sold for $3.45 million to the city of Long Beach, California, as a maritime museum and hotel, and that's what it is basically now as well. And on December 9th, 1967, the Queen Mary made its final voyage to Long Beach. So, and that's where it is today. So, of course, it goes into the hauntings now, which, again, like I said, I've covered before in different shows here and there. Yeah, I would as well. DJ in the chat says I would love to tour the Queen Mary. Yeah, I would as well. It's there's just so many stories, and the thing is, so many reports of paranormal activity. I've covered a few of those. Every once in a while, they'll pop up when I'm doing the True Paranormal Stories from the Web episodes. Someone will online will post about an experience they had there, So, regardless of whatever sort of the truth is about the history and about whatever paranormal activity there is there's plenty of people that are not associated with the boat directly. Not that I'm putting anyone down, I'm just saying everyone has their own sources and ways of and research to figure out what's going on in the place, and they don't always agree. The narratives don't always agree. So there are plenty of people that have just visited there and had experiences. So, and getting to that now, let's see here. Let's see, lost my spot. So that starts off talking about the Queen Mary deck, that I guess the top part of the ship there. Says that the decks of the Queen Mary still have the original wood flooring. Excuse me. So it talks about the Queen Mary is recognized as internationally as the historic floating hotel and museum that it is there, and attracts thousands of visitors annually, which can't blame anyone there. It also has a lot of paranormal activity reported over there. Some people say the Queen Mary is one of the most haunted places in the world, of course, with as many as 150 known spirits lurking on the ship. Over the past 60 years, it says the Queen Mary has been the site of at least 49 reported deaths, not to mention having gone through basically war, the World War II there. So it's so that's why it says here that there's a lot of activity going on there. And in the engine room, it's located 50 feet below water, below the water level, and it's said to be really active. It was used in the filming of the Poseidon Adventure movie. The room's door 13 is said to have, I believe it, I'm not sure if this is verified, but according to this article, the room's infamous door 13 crushed at least 2 men to death at different points during World War II, basically. It says that during a routine watertight door drill in 1966, that was the most recent death of a crew member because of the door closing, and he was too close to it. This man who passed there was dressed in blue overalls and has a beard, and he's been seen walking along the length of a place in the boat called Shaft Alley before disappearing by that door. It says the first and second class swimming pools are 2 more popular areas for paranormal activity there. It says that neither of those are being used as pools today, but the spirits that are there are apparently not aware of this. It says that in the first class swimming pool, which has been closed for more than 3 decades, women have often appeared in 1930s style swimsuits, walking around the decks near the pool. So that's amazing. Others have reported that they've heard the sounds of splashing and even seen wet footprints leading to the deck, or leading from the deck to the changing room. There we go, changing rooms. So that's amazing. You have an empty pool, and you have sounds coming from it of water, and then you have footprints, wet footprints. So where is the water coming from? Some people have even seen the spirit of a young girl clutching her teddy bear there as well. So let's see here. This next section talks about the second class pool room. There's another spirit of another girl that's supposedly named Jackie, that's also been seen and heard there. And let's see here. So people can hear her voice and her laughter, and it's even been captured on devices. Let me see here. There's also a paranormal investigator and author that has pointed out, and I'm not sure how to say their first name, Garman is their last name, points out that there's no known records of anyone having passed in this area, even though the legend says that that one did. And so there's this apparition there, or the sounds there, even though there's no confirmed death in that area. Let me see here. So it talks about the Queen's Salon, which was once the ship's first-class lounge. There's a beautiful young woman that is seen in an elegant white evening gown that is seen there, often seen dancing alone in the shadows of the corner of the room. More reports have been made in several first-class staterooms. I'm guessing those are hotel rooms. There have been reports of a tall, dark-haired man appearing in a 1930s-style suit, as well as the sounds of water running and the lights turning on in the middle of the night on their own, and phones ringing in the early morning hours with no one on that other end of the line. It says in the third-class children's playroom, there's the sound of a cry of a baby that is heard there, which is thought to be that of a boy that passed shortly after birth, unfortunately. Let's see, other reports throughout the ship have been made of sounds of knocks and doors slamming, and this is throughout the ship, basically. High-pitched sounds, also reports of drastic temperature changes, and the sense of perfumes, I guess, of the past, and cigarettes and all those things. So it talks about and that says that all that is just the few of the reports of what has been seen or experienced there. So let me see here. This is, I think that's it for this article here, and we can go on to the next one. So, but yeah, so I would love to visit there someday and check it out. Looking at the chat here, yeah, that's the DJ in the chat says I thought a little girl had drowned there, unfortunately, in the first class pool. Maybe rumors. That's the thing. It's hard to say, and so many of these reports, it's from one source or maybe two, and then there's no way to confirm it. So I don't know. And again, that gets back to if these things didn't happen, then why is there still activity there? And I've gone over my thoughts on some of that before, so I won't go into it again. Just the idea that maybe over time, all the so many people being told the same stories or the same things about what happened there, whether it did or it didn't, can generate energy that forms some kind of a thought form that does cause activity there. So yeah, DG says in the chat, I could see them keeping stuff quiet. Yes, I could see that as well. But I also wonder if at times there's just, maybe it's based on one experience that one person had, and they either picked up on something or they thought they did, and that's how that whole account of what happened to cause the activity started. I think it's always complicated with these things as far as that goes. So records can be either hidden intentionally or unintentionally lost, or all those different variables, I think, are part of that, of what can cause all that. So I will just touch on this other article here. This is from hauntedhouses.com. And it says, the title reads, Queen Mary, home to at least 100 spirits of past passengers or sorry, this isn't really the title. The title is just Queen Mary. says it's home to at least 100 spirits of past passengers or employees, including a third-class passenger, people in the swimming pool, soldiers, and a cook, and then accident victims as well. So, goes over the history. We're going to skip the history part just because we kind of covered it already. You can check out this article here and go from there. But I want to see what else they report, because they mentioned something about a cook that the first article did not mention, and I had never heard of. So the one says that one well-known investigator, psychic investigator, Peter James, his name has come up before on other shows, said that there were hundreds of spirits still aboard the Queen Mary. But let's see here. Looking at the rest of this here. So yeah, it talks about the reports of the door that closed on people, unfortunately. And it says that, let me see here. There was a traveler who was a guest, Adamson is his last name, who was a guest in 1948. He was checked into a third-class room. He passed away in his sleep while traveling to America. And so apparently he's been seen there. Let's see here. Looking at the rest of this here. So yeah, there's more about the other activity. The pools, again, talks about the pools. And says that people that have enjoyed their work while alive sometimes want to stay there after they've passed. And apparently there are several spirits that are seen in the boat that look like they were in their work attire, that were that they continue to be there, supposedly. So so yeah, there's more in this article here. We don't have a ton of time to go into this, but so yeah, talks about the woman in white again. Now, the other thing about this is the other experiences I've heard of involve a woman in a green dress. So, talks about there is apparently a cook that was murdered on the boat at one point, and that is said to be there still. And let me see here. So it doesn't, okay. So this cook has been seen by other cooks and busboys on the Queen Mary's dining areas. He usually goes into the kitchen and then suddenly vanishes. So I hadn't heard about that one. That was a different one that I hadn't heard before. I think you'd have to basically read all these articles and go there and just talk to everybody just about to find out all the accounts of any one location, because there's going to be just so many. So, yeah, never trust a dead cook swoon. I don't know, but so yeah, that's basically it for this episode here. I'll include those articles in the episode description, and you can check those out for yourselves. Read that second article in more detail, because like I said, I didn't cover a lot of it because we kind of ran out of time, and I already covered the history part. So thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsidoparanormal. Take care.